Hello, my name is Karen Jerzyk, and I'm a photographer from Manchester, New Hampshire. I went to college up in UNH in New Hampshire, and I actually went for my BA in English. I really didn't have much friends up there. I was lonely, and that's when I started really just getting super into music. So I love going to concerts because I would actually meet people there. So when I started going to concerts, I would sneak disposable cameras in my underwear. So I could be look how close I was kind of thing. But in doing that, I started taking decent pictures. I started going to little dive bars and stuff that were having a show where you could bring a camera in and they didn't care. And suddenly I was oh, I have a portfolio. And I had a lot of fun doing it, but I wanted to do creatively something more. And I actually started driving around and finding alleyways or just things that I thought just looked interesting. And that's how I got into the whole going to abandoned places thing. In 2014, I got arrested for trespassing, and that was another life event that changed a lot. I was in New Hampshire and I was at this abandoned house, and I had shot there a few times before. One of the, skills I developed, over those few years of shooting in abandoned places was I started moving around furniture and actually cleaning up and doing the opposite of what someone would think someone breaking into abandoned place would do. Unbeknownst to me, the caretaker was going in, and I guess every time this person went in, they'd call the cops and be I don't know if I'm losing my mind or what's going on, but the house is clean. I didn't clean the house. I don't know why it's like this. So I went to this house for the fourth or fifth time, and while I was leaving with the people I was photographing, the dude that owned the property happened to just pull in the driveway, and I was oh crap. One of the people I photographed was driving, and she was he's right behind us. He didn't have any proof that we were in there, so he let us go. And then the next day I get a phone call, and he Google searched my stuff, my work. So he found the images. So I turn myself in. He brings me into an interrogation room. He walks in and he dramatically puts pictures across the interrogation table. So I was thinking oh, this is not a big deal. I'm just going to go to court. I'm going to pay a fine. To this day, I'm was someone on my side and they knew it would be good for me, or was someone trying to sabotage me? Whatever their intent, in the long run, it was definitely it was basically a free commercial. I started a series called The Lonely Astronaut, and I kind of had this vision of someday, what if we destroy the atmosphere or the ozone so badly that we can't breathe the air here anymore, and we all have to colonize another planet or something. But I could just picture 1,000 years from now, an astronaut comes back down to Earth, and they kind of just get to roam around and just kind of check things out. So from there, I just started doing all kinds of different series. I've done a shadow series where I dress someone all in black. I've done a clown series of people just kind of with clown face paint. When COVID started in 2020 and everything got shut down, I was oh my God, what am I going to do? Because there's only so much backlog of photos I have until I run out of stuff. So I had a bunch of mannequins at the studio, and I was okay, so I have hundreds of pieces of wardrobe. So I was I can build sets, or I can go on location and I can dress these mannequins up and I can pose them. So from the head down, it looks like a person, but it was from the neck up, you can tell it's a mannequin and you can't just put a hat on or something. So I started making all these masks and painting them. And when you put the mask on, you can't tell. I have this whole body of work for months where there wasn't an actual live person in my photos, and no one ever realizes that. It's kind of creepy, but it kind of forced me to do so many things that were out of my wheelhouse of what I ever thought I would be doing. And like with the sculpting thing, I found that I loved it, and I liked making like different masks and like characters and stuff. So even when, things started getting better, I still did that. I kept going back to like the sculpting, like the mask sculpting. And I was like, okay, I think I know how to do this. And I was like, I can sculpt tiny little heads, because I knew the mechanics of a PFP project. Like I understood like the generation and all that. So I was like, I have a ton of wardrobe. I can sculpt a bunch of different heads. I'm like really fast at sculpting. So I was like, what we can do is we can like dress mannequins with like all this crazy wardrobe I have, and like kind of match it with the heads. From like August to like that December, for like 10 hours a day, every day, I was like making the backgrounds, the heads, like painting, doing all this gluing stuff. Yeah. And then we released it this past March, and it minted out, I think, within like 24 hours. And that's the thing, is like, I feel like with NFTs, it makes so many avenues for people, like just artists, like trying different avenues. It isn't pointless. Like, I feel like there's a venue now for everything in that space.